David here with figbootonpens. Today I have for you a pen from a company I have never previously reviewed, and that company is Xezo, and that's spelled X-E-Z-O. The pen I have today is called the Incognito. What I'm going to do is go over the parts and features of the Incognito, talk about what I care for, what I don't care for, show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. And stay tuned after the review for a chance to win this pen, courtesy of Xezo, who provided this pen to me for review and for giveaway. Xezo is an American company based out of Houston, Texas. They manufacture and sell a number of items such as watches and eyewear and leather goods and writing instruments. They offer fountain pens as well as rollerballs and ballpoints. Some of the parts of their pens are manufactured in Germany, and some of the components such as the lacquering is done in Switzerland. And then they assemble their pens in both Germany and the US. Now, I asked the company about the origins of the Xezo name, and they said that it doesn't have any particular meaning or reference. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I just thought that a unique name like Xezo would have a story behind it, but there isn't. The pen arrives in this box with this sleeve. We'll take that off. And then the box has a unique design. It opens from the middle, which I just thought was kind of cool. And inside we have a polishing cloth. Then we have some standard international cartridges. Then we have a warranty card. And then something that they call the certificate of quality. And then here is the pen. This is the Xezo Incognito. The Incognito comes in a number of colors. It comes in burgundy and copper and purple, and this is the blue, which they call a French blue. I do like the color of the pen. It reminds me a lot of the color of Pilot Iroshizuku Konpeki, the ink, which is one of my favorite colors. The pen does have a metal base, which is brass, and it does have some heft to it. It's not a light pen. Let's start by taking a look at the end here. On the finial, there's a black piece of resin, and then there's a silver-colored band. On the band is engraved 0.999 platinum plated, which is something I haven't seen before on a pen, at least one in my collection. I'm not sure printing on the pen the specifics of the trim are really necessary. In addition, the cursive font used in the engraving is a little wide and has some odd kerning, which kind of leaves the M and platinum kind of hanging out there. The clip is bowed with a flare on the end. It is a bit tight, but it is still functional. I know it's a small design feature, but there's a small opening at the back of the clip. I just thought it would look nicer to have a solid piece there rather than that gap, but that was just me personally. The cap angles up just slightly, about 1.5 millimeters from beginning to end. And then you have the cap band. On the band, it's engraved with Xezo Incognito Limited Edition N533 and 2016. Now, I know this is a small thing, but I just kind of feel the band is a bit on the wordy side. Typically on limited edition pens, there's just the out of number, which kind of implies that it's a limited edition. The Incognito is a limited edition of 600, so I feel it would be better maybe just to have 533/600, and it gets the point across. Also, I kind of debated about how I felt about having the year so clearly stated on the pen. I don't have any other pens in my collection which have a year of manufacturer clearly stated like this. On most pens, dating can be a challenge that involves a great deal of research. On one hand, it's nice to know when it was manufactured, but then some pens are easier to date than others. Rather than an actual year printed on a pen, I think maybe I might prefer to have a code or some symbol or something like that which can be easily researched to determine the year of origin. That way, if someone cares about the year it was manufactured, the information is easily obtained. I know that's a small thing, but there is a small step down to the barrel, which is straight, and then it tapers down to a platinum plated band and a resin piece which is flat on the end. This does look like it could be a piston knob, but it's not. This is a cartridge converter pen. Both the band and the cap are faceted. They each have 12 facets, which actually match up with the striped pattern underneath. I like that when the pen is capped, the pattern on the cap and band line up and match up. That's a nice attention to detail. The finish uses what's called a 10-layer high-gloss lacquering technique. After each layer of lacquer is applied, the material is heat-dried and then manually polished. And then multiple layers of a clear translucent coating are applied. The material has a nice depth to it. I like that when you rotate the band, the pattern kind of appears to change a little bit, and that the change in pattern as well as the depth really gives the design a bit of life. That's probably my favorite part of the Incognito. The cap twists off to reveal the nib. The nib is steel and two-toned, and it has the Xezo X logo, and beneath it says Iridium Point Germany and F for this fine nib. We'll see in the writing sample, but I find this fine nib to be decent. And what I mean by that is that it's not poor by any means, but I wouldn't describe it as fantastic. It gets the job done. The end of the section is metal. I'm not a big fan of pens with slick metal sections, but having this piece on the end doesn't impede your grip, and it does add a nice little design element. The transition between the metal and the resin section here is smooth, which is important because for me, that's right where I grip this pen. And if it was uneven, then it would feel awkward, but I barely notice it. The section does have a nice length to it, and the threads are not sharp. There is a rounded band here, which helps lessen the step up to the barrel. And the pen is plenty long enough to use unposted. The cap does post securely, but due to the metal in the cap, it does significantly backweight this pen, so I prefer to use the Incognito unposted. It does feel very comfortable in the hand, and the metal gives it a decent amount of weight, which I like. As I mentioned previously, this is a cartridge converter pen. The Incognito does come with a Xezo branded converter, and it will accept standard international short or long cartridges. Through the Xezo website, the Incognito sells for $139, which kind of puts it in the range of a Pilot Vanishing Point. The Xezo Incognito is only available with a fine nib, but on their site they do sell a replacement nib section for $32. The replacement fits both the Incognito as well as their Freelancer model. And the replacements actually don't have the metal piece here at the end, which is the way it is on their Freelancer model. They're just solid resin. It would be nice if they offered the pen in medium as well as fine for the base price rather than it being an added expense. I'd say my feelings on the Incognito are mixed. Uncapped, I really like the looks of this pen. I think it looks sharp. While I typically like two-tone nibs, on this particular pen with the blue finish and the palladium trim, the platinum plated trim, I might have chosen a solid colored nib to match the rest of the trim, but that's just a personal preference. And on the cap, while I like the color and the pattern a lot, there's some things that I would change about the clip as well as the bands. But overall, it's a decent pen. If you would care to win this pen, courtesy of Xezo, simply leave a comment here on YouTube. Today is Saturday, July 8th, 2017. You have until the end of day on Tuesday the 11th to enter. At that time, I'll put all the names of those leaving comments into my random number generator I made and will select a winner. Just an FYI, feel free to leave more than one comment or comment on other folks' comments, but just know that I eliminate duplicates so that everyone has a single entry. In regard to a topic, I'm going to be doing another Q&A here soon, so leave me a question that you'd like to have answered. It could be fountain pen related or not. The topic is not required in order to enter the contest. It is just a suggestion. If you like these reviews, it'd be great if you subscribe to my channel. That way you can receive notifications whenever I post new content. And I'm really giveaway heavy right now. I have a lot of things to review and to give away, so you can be notified of that. So thanks go out to Xezo for providing this Incognito pen for review and for giveaway. You can find a link to the Incognito on their website in the notes below. So now it's time for some measurements, size comparisons, and a writing sample. So here we go with some size comparisons for the Xezo Incognito. Here it is with a Lamy All-Star. And then here it is with a Platinum 3776 in Chartreuse Blue. And then here it is with a Lamy Studio. In regard to some other blue pens, here it is with a Canalea Nui Nalu, and then an Edison Menlo pump filler, and then finally a Visconti Opera Metal Speedboat. Bunch of blue there. So here we go with the writing sample for the Xezo Incognito. And this is a fine steel nib, and the ink that I'm using here is St. DuPont Royal Blue. This is the bottle that it comes in. This is not the most user-friendly bottle. You see how shallow that is? So there's a lot of pens that are really tough to use in this. So while the ink is okay, it's not necessarily the best design for a bottle. This is what the Royal Blue looks like. It's a bit on the light side of Royal Blue, as opposed to something like the Herbin Louis the 14th, which is a much more darker royal blue, but it's somewhat similar to something like the Faber-Castell royal blue, or even more closer to like the Diplomat royal blue, or even the Clio Scribent royal blue. It's kind of similar to those along those veins. So here we go with a writing sample. I would say that this is definitely a fine nib, and it's almost more like an Eastern fine. It's not necessarily something that is on the medium side of fine. That it's more kind of like a Japanese fine. I do find it to be a bit on the precise side. It's not extraordinarily smooth, but decently smooth enough. In regard to flow, it's not the wettest nib. In regard to reverse writing, there's just a little that you could do there. And in regard to some fast writing, there's no issues at all. Now, I've never had any issues with any flow for this pen. So thanks go out to Xezo for providing this pen for review and for giveaway. Make sure to check out the link in the notes below to their site to check out this pen on their site. And don't forget to leave a comment in order to win this pen. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.